What's up, guys? ScylIssue here, and I just wanted to go over my January 2024 format Shaddoll list. Mainly because one, I think this deck is incredibly fun, especially if you're looking from like a more casual or basically you want to play like a more fun deck with a high ceiling and a lot of creative deck building, but also can actually like potentially win, like you'll actually win some games. I think this deck's actually pretty solid for that. I also think even versus decks like the top of the meta, which is currently Snake Eye, I think this deck unironically can hold its own decently well. So yeah, I just wanted to go over my list because I think this deck's really fun. I think there's like a lot of potential, especially so in the next set, which is Legacy of not Legacy of Darkness, Legacy of Destruction, we'll be getting like new Lightsworn stuff. And I don't know if that's like going to be real, but I do want to test it out. I don't know if this build's going to change entirely based on that, and we'll just play like Light Torch at all. But I think this is fine. I think this is good. And I think what I have currently is probably the most consistent, even like more than the Lightsworn build, because the Lightsworn build sounds cool, but I feel like you have to run like a bunch of bad bricks. Yeah, this deck is a lot better. But yeah, I want to go over my list because I think this deck is very, very fun. Surprisingly good versus Snake Eyes and other meta decks. And also, I think there's I think there's like a lot that can be a lot of discussion that could be had regarding the deck in terms of like its competitive standing, like how to solve it, what's like what are the best cards, or what are the good ratios, what's the best sub engine, etc. I think there's like a lot of good discussion that could be had. So I definitely just want to go right and throw this out there because I actually haven't been seeing that many Shaddoll lists that run this particular variant, which I think is kind of incorrect. Not because like those builds are bad. Well, I mean, okay, well they sort of are. No offense, but they're not like the best. So, for example, a lot of builds that you'll see, especially in like modern day, just like the standard Shaddoll Dogmatica package that's been the same for like literally like what 5 years now. And I don't think that like build is good. Like I don't think that build's good because that build can never go second ever. Because if you go second, you just always hard lose. It's just never good. Whereas this build, like you can go second and like win because Shaddoll Fusion's insane, but you're also just playing like way better going second card. Like the deck is naturally tailored better to going second than like the Dogmatic Invoke stuff is. But yeah, I'll explain more of that when we actually get into like deck profile. So enough stalling. So kick things off. Three Shaddoll Wendy. Uh, insane card. I'll probably go over the effects just in case, because these cards are kind of, I don't want to say they're old, but they're not as played. And a lot of the actual like main deck Shadolls that are like pure Shadolls don't actually see that much play because again, you'll probably know like what Beast does and like what Dragon and Squamata does, but a lot of these other cards you might not know. But yeah, is it Res or Re? Whatever. Anyway, Wendy's great. So her effect is when you send her to the graveyard, you can special summon a Shaddoll in from your deck in face down defense position. And this is very key for one of the key combos. By the way, after I do this video, I'll probably like upload a combo video on some of the combo lines that you can do with the deck. I'll probably do some test hands to show you kind of like how the deck's supposed to play. But yeah. Yeah, but so gets you in this gets you in your aerial, which is very important because it sets up the rush play. And also you just want to be able to not like you run three because you don't want to break because you want to be able to draw this plus a light plus a fusions card going first because typically you have a way to construct, you have a way to win. If you literally all you need is like construct plus like any monster that you can summon, and you're usually in good standing. So definitely want to run this. Also, the flip effect, which won't ever come up, but maybe if you run Falco, it'll come up. But yeah, when it's flip face up, you can special summon a Shaddoll monster in face up or face up defense position except the persona. And then it's like, I mean, it's cool, but you'll like never do that. I mean, it's cool. Like maybe there's a world where you send. No, I don't think there's a world. But yeah, important thing to know is if you run Falco, you can like send the Wendy. Like you make construct on your opponent's turn with Schism, then you can send Wendy. Wendy will get out the Falco. Falco will get back with Ariel, and that's kind of cool. But yeah. And then three Squamata to round out the six Shaddoll monsters that you want to see in the opening hand pretty much every game. because these get you in the Wendy slash your aerial Resh combo. Not much to say on this. Shaddoll Squamata also serves another very good purpose, just being able to, because it can just get into every single card, which is insane. It gets every single card, and also this card is compatible with High Spirits because it's a spellcaster, and you can mill out Granganoil to search for Cartesia, and you'll proc the effect to get your mill, which is very, very good. And it's also a dark monster, so you can fuse it with Cartesia to make your Granganoil. It's actually insane. But yeah, these are the ones you run at 3. You could maybe experiment with like cutting these down, like cutting the ratios, like maybe cutting this down to 2. But honestly, I just like 3 because you want to maximize seeing these cards. So these cards are like really good going first. And they're also good going second because again, this card, if you're going second, you just side out like 1 to 2 Wendy. It's not as good. Maybe even like 1 Squamata. But as it stands now, I think main decking 3 for when you win die roll is very, very good. And it's not like it's terrible going second. It's just like you just want to, it's not like it's terrible. It's just like you want to edge the numbers further in your favor. 2 Shaddoll Hedgehog. Experimenting 2. You can honestly run 3. But yeah, so when this card is sent to the graveyard, you just search for a Shaddoll monster and add it to your hand. And then once full face up, you add a spell or trap. You'll pretty much always be just adding a monster. But the cool thing is that just like Squamata, if you have High Spirits, you can actually send it for High Spirits, and you'll proc the effect, which is really good. That's like a really cool interaction. And for the non-engine Shadolls that are kind of just in here for like utility, 1 Dragon, 1 Aerial, 1 Genius, 1 Beast, 1 of this terrible card that you have to run. Alright, so these cards are all pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I have to explain them. They're all like really, really good. But yeah, Dragon pops. This banishes 3. This makes it so your opponent can't activate a targeted monster's effect, and this draws a card. These 3 are good going second, and this is just good if you draw all your spells and traps. You can honestly cut Beast if you don't care for it. Like if you play this in the deck and you find like Beast just doesn't come up, you can just cut it. It's not like a big deal. I think the other 3 you have to like keep because they're way too good. And Aerial is also very important for like your turn 1 play, which you'll see in the combo video. But yeah, and then this card's bad. This card's terrible, but you have to run it because sometimes you just actually need the Light Shaddoll. So sometimes you'll have like these hands where you'll draw like Mata Wendy or like Mata Wendy, or you'll like have Hog, or like you'll fuse Hog and make this, or not make this. You'll make Apcalone, and sometimes you'll search this with Hog, and all you need to play is like another fusion spell, like literally any other fusion spell or a way to fuse, and you can just make this. That's kind of the idea. Is sometimes you just need this to fuse into Construct, because again, if there's a way to Construct, there's a way to win. Then for our lights, 3 Trick Clown, 3 Damage Juggler. This will probably come down to 2 for Shiren. I just wanted to experiment with 3 because I thought it'd be like really cool. But honestly, it's better than I thought it'd be. I actually haven't found myself working on like 3 that much, so I actually think it's fine. I don't know. I kind of want to keep these at 6. Sounds kind of crazy, but the thing is, these cards are just such like insane discard targets, and just insane fusion material with Cartesia and for Guardian Chimera, especially going second. Because you can just literally fuse these for Guardian Chimera, and it's like they're good. You can discard these for Super Poly, and it's amazing. You can discard these for Droplet, it's really, really good. So that's kind of the reasoning why I want to maybe cut that down or keep it at 6. But I definitely will probably experiment with like 5 or 2, and just run the 1 Shiren, because that card's also really, really good. It's also good going second. So 1 Hat Trigger, just because you can search it out. Sometimes if you draw like Trick Clown, Damage Juggler, you want the Hat Trigger to search out for like just another body, so that's why it's in there. It's 1 card, you don't really need that much. Yeah, 3 Cartesia. Yeah, not much to say on this front. You run 3. A lot of people aren't on this card. I think that's insane. This card's actually just like dumb. Like it serves as a fusion material. It serves as just a good light. fixes the problem of if you don't, because it's another way to fuse. So typically, you have the 3 Shaddoll fusion, the 3L, the 2 poly, the 2 patchwork, plus this, and the 2 high spirits. So you have like what, 6, 8, 11, 13, 15. So you have like 15 ways to see a fusion spell. And what's really great is that this also duels a monster. So if you already have the fusion spell, you can just use this as the material, and you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about like needing to use up your effect. You can just save it. So this card's just really good because it duels as a monster that can be used for the fusion material, and it also gets you to the fusion spell. Okay, well, it doesn't get you to the fusion spell, but it gets you to a fusion if you don't have a fusion spell. It's really, really good. There's also like some cool combos you can do with this, and it also just has like really good really good for resources, because if, especially like going into your turn 2, if you high spirits and you have this in graveyard, a lot of the time you'll end up sending like fusion monsters on your opponent's turn to the graveyard with stuff like L, or if they just out it, and you just get like so much card advantage back, like going back into your turn. It's really, really good. It's kind of hard for your opponent to win once the deck gets going. Yeah, I definitely think 3 is mandatory. It's also a tuner, which can open up some lines for creative deck building. I don't know if I'm gonna run any synchros. Maybe I have to like look at maybe the new Lightsworn support. Maybe there's like a line there, but as it stands now, this is fine. 2 edge jump. This card's broken. Being able to just subsidize your fusion summons is insane, and also like it's just good. It's a good droplet discard. It's a good super poly discard. It's a good fusion material. Like if you run Masquerade in the extra deck or like a Fiend for high spirits, it's also a good high spirits discard. So it's like just the best discard fodder. 1 Merly. Again, I was thinking about like maybe cutting the Trick Clown and running Shiren and like run 2 tiers, just because like the Shiren's just good for rank 4 plays, and also if it's also really good going second because you can just pressure your opponent into outing it to try and play around Guardian Chimera. Because if you're able to Guardian Chimera, if you mill out like just any of your names, just 3 of basically any monster in the deck, you're just getting insane value. So yeah, that's kind of why I kind of want to run the Shiren, but it's fine currently. 1 Merly. But Merly's great because it's your Sprin. You're going to mill this off Sprin for the end board. And also, sometimes if you literally just draw, like sometimes I've literally had hands where you just like draw no Shaddoll, draw no Cartesia. And sometimes when that happens, you just normal this and pray. And even though the deck's not designed to mill crazy, the ratios make it so that like there's a pretty solid chance that you actually just milk insane. Even if the deck isn't designed to mill insane, like that's not like why you pick the ratios. There are a lot of times where you'll like proc 2 or 3 effects on normal summon, and also if you fuse with this, you'll proc the effect, which is really nice. I definitely want to run that. It is kind of sucky if you draw into it turn 1, going first, but you know it is what it is, right? It's sort of a garnet. It's better going second. Like it's not as bad if you draw it going second because you just fuse for Guardian Chimera. But yeah, for these spells, we're running 3 normal, 3 L. Not much to say on this front. You run 3-3. The reason why you run 3-3, at least in the main board. Obviously, when you sideboard cards, you'll like take out the appropriate fusion monster depending on when you're gonna take your turn. So obviously, like if you're going first, you'll take out like 1 to 2 Shaddoll fusion, and if you're going second, you'll take a 1 to 2 L. So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. But yeah, going second, you want to see Shaddoll fusion. So running at 3 gives you like roughly a 40% chance of seeing in the opening 6. And then going first, you want to see L, because seeing in the opening 5 is roughly like a 33% chance. So you wanted to see these cards and make your boards better. This also helps you dodge cards like Imperm and Imperm. I'm trying to think. Veiler, I don't know about Veiler, but like, cards that would otherwise beat your construct. Oh, Droplet, that was what I was talking about. Yeah, Droplet. I don't know why I forgot that. Yeah, this card just being allowed to just fuse using your L or using your window, and then being able to just like make another window is crazy. So it just allows you to effectively burn a card from your opponent, which is really good. And this will go back to your hand from the window effect, which is really good. 2 poly, 2 patchwork. Not much to say on this. Maybe there's a world where you cut these and play other stuff. But honestly, the patch print is just like so consistently good that I just can't bring myself to cut it. I think it's way too. I think it's way too valuable. Especially like going first, going second is just too good. Two branded high spirits, only two. This card's insane. Being able to just like discard a Squamata or a Hedgehog or like a Mage, mill out the Granganoil, and grab Cartesia is just like so insane. Like it's actually just such insane follow up. It's insanely good for consistency. And when you run two of this plus the Cartesia, you have roughly like a 50% chance to open it. And I think that's like roughly the odds. Like I think this is the ratio that you want to run in the main board. You could maybe experiment with like 3-3 or 3-2, but I think that's not real. The reason why it's not real is because this card's kind of bad if you draw on a multiple. You really don't want to see this card in multiples. It's really bad. Yeah, I think that this is like fine. I think this is perfectly fine. But yeah. And then to round out the deck, we're of course running the one Resh, one Shaddoll Squall, or one Shaddoll Schism. Card's insane. You definitely want to run this. Card's just really, really good. Yeah, we don't run core. Core's bad. Don't run core. For the extra deck, 3 Construct, 2 Window, 1 Check, 1 App Clone, 2 Granganoil, 1 Chimera, 1. This card's gonna get cut. Okay, I'll probably just explain. You could cut this down to 2. I probably would run 2, but I don't have access code on me right now, so 3 it is. It's still good to have at 3, but it's not necessary. But yeah, this is like the main combos. Like this is basically the this card just gets you into all of your engines. What gets you your follow up? It's what gets you to Schism, and also it's just like a 28 body that's incredibly easy to summon. It gets you just so much value and so much just such an insane consistency booster. 2 Winda. Really, you just run the second one to like maybe make off Schism and L if they out the first one. That's about it. 1 Check. This card's cool. Going second. It's a good target for Shaddoll Fusion. Same with App Clone. And then obviously App Clone's your engine requirement for Granganoil. You can mill out the App Clone and get what you need. And 2 of these, you run 2 because you need to mill 1 off High Spirits if you activate effect, discard Spellcaster. You'd also run Masquerade too in tandem with this, so they can discard Edge Imp on top, but I didn't feel like that was real. Maybe if you run 3 Edge Imp, that's real, but I think it's fine. And Guardian Chimera's card's just really good going second. Bear in mind that if you fuse with this, or if you fuse for this with Cartesia, you will not get the effect to pop and draw because it needs to be, if you look real close to attacks actually. It says if this card is fusion summoned by a spell card or effect, you draw cards equal. Yeah, so it literally needs to be by specifically a spell effect. It can't be by a monster effect, which is unfortunate. It also can't be by a trap effect if you're running something like Necrofusion. But yeah, Trapezus and Tapuir, this is gonna get cut for Skinian, but I don't have the second one on me, and the other one's in my branded deck, and I didn't feel like getting it out. But yeah, just know this would be Perskidian. You could also run like the level 12 Synchro if you really wanted to, but I feel like that card's terrible and not really worth it. I think Perskidian is just like infinitely better. Even if you can just naturally make the level 12 in this deck, you know, you're not really summoning anything good. Bagusta isn't necessary for the inboard. And it's also if you brick, if you're able to just get 2 Matra on board, like, you know, Bagusta Pass is still like solid enough. It's not like the best, but it's like better than nothing, I guess. Yeah. And then Sprin, Cross Sheep, Unicorn. Again, I would be running access code and I'd be replacing the second. I'd be replacing the second, not the second, the third construct. I don't know why. I don't know why my brain lapsed there, but yeah, you definitely would run access code. Really, really good. You run stuff like Dark, but again, it's kind of tough because there's not a whole lot of free room in the extra deck, which is unfortunate. But you could run Dark. You run Selene. I don't like Selene because you a lot of times you'll add back your spells and you won't have the spells in graveyard to actually be able to special anything. A lot of the time, it's only really good if you have specifically patchwork and you can play, which like, it just doesn't seem like that good. I mean, you can still run it. Obviously, it's like preference, but I think this is just like I definitely prefer unicorn. It's also just like a lot of interactions where unicorns is really nice to have. Like for example, versus Amble Whale versus Mirror J, just being able to shuffle them back and they don't proc their effects is very very nice. And also because it doesn't go to graveyard, it's you don't have to worry about anything dumb. Yeah, I think it's really really good. And obviously like Access Code and Nightmare Unicorn is still like the dream team, right? But yeah, that's my list. I'm not going to show the side deck because one, we're about to enter pseudo new format with the release of Legacy of Destruction, and also like uh, I didn't really, I don't really have like a concrete side deck made right now because again, kind of just depends on your locals and like what you really want to run. I think I'll definitely need like Theorycraft after Legacy of Destruction and see like what the meta landscape's looking like. But I think this is fall. I think it's fine. The only thing I know is like you definitely just always side 3 drop with 3 super poly and like your back row hit cards. I think that's always like good, and you just have like 5 to 6 slots that you can do whatever you want with. But yeah, I think this is fine. But yeah, so yeah, that's my list for Shaddoll in January 2024 format. Again, I think this deck's very, very slept on. I think the deck has a lot of potential. And if you guys have any ideas, thoughts, concerns, questions, feel free to pose them. I'm always looking for a more discourse on this, or not discourse, a discussion on this deck because I think it's fun, but I also think there's possibility that this deck can be very good into the format, at least especially right now in Snake Eyes. Depending on if Snake Eyes is still good in the near future post release of Legacy of Destruction and also the potential ban list, in which Snake Eyes will either get mutilated or Konami will hit like Ash to 2 and call it a day or something dumb like that. Again, depends. But yeah, I think the deck has a lot of cool things. There's like a lot of creative ways to build the deck too. I was mentioning like how Cartesia the tuner, so you can make synchro plays, you can like run different rank 4s, run different links, etc. I think there's like a lot of different ways to cook up with this deck, and it kind of just depends on like what you like out of the deck. And I think that's really fun. I think it's really that's one of the reasons why I always like this deck is like it's really fun to deck build and theory craft with this deck because there's so many different like ways you can do it. And that's honestly why, even though I have branded, I can play it. I like the deck. I think brand's fun. I don't know. It's not as stimulating to deck build or theory craft because there's only really like one correct way to play, and there's not really like you don't really have room to experiment because there's like not really anything you experiment with. But yeah, so yeah, that's the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll probably be posting the combo video for this deck soon. So yeah, look out for that.